Aloha offline sharks. Welcome to the Aloha Friday Marketing Jam Session. Super excited you're here. I'm Tom Gaddis. My business partner and best friend is back on the live show. Nick Ponte, what's up, buddy?
Hey.
Yeah, we are excited for today's live show because today we're going to be talking about psychological triggers. Maybe we used some in the email that got you to show up to this live. I don't know. We won't tell, but we will discuss some of the biggest psychological triggers that you can use to apply to your efforts in prospecting and sales to hopefully help you close more deals. So with that, I'm going to cue up the intro and we will see you back here in just, 60 seconds or so.
Ready for the fastest 60 minutes of strategies and tactics to build your remote business from anywhere in the world? It's now time, the moment you've been waiting for. After 167 agonizing hours, they've returned. Now, back for a brand new Sharks Live show. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
Yes. Thank you. Good crowd out there. Good crowd out there. Let me turn that off there. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Who's hanging out in the comments over there? I see Dorn. What's up, Dorn? Hey, Dorn, I accepted a friend request from you. I assumed it was you because you said your VA unfriended people. But if it wasn't you, somebody's out there sending out friend requests. So fix that.
I got that one too.
Yeah. Suzette. What's up? Dorn said that his VA unfriended everybody, so I thought that was probably really him. Cameron's in the house. I don't know who this is, but hello. Welcome. Somebody said, for some reason, I want to give you money. Must be working. I like it. Psychological triggers in action. Oh, happy Friday. Happy Friday. I see Paul Brooks. What's up? Suzette, James. Dorn said it was him. Marvin, what's up, Marvin? Marvin, I've been seeing a lot of your posts in the group about your wins. And I think I saw a post the other day you had about a VA. You're looking for a VA or something like that. So,
pretty incredible stuff. He's had a lot of wins going off. Marvin, we appreciate you sharing all that stuff with us. I've been seeing him
Will he be in the shout outs?
Will he?
I don't know. There you go. There's a psychological trigger for you. Curiosity, Nick.
That's a big one. We use that a lot in a lot of the software that we build. Ways to generate curiosity is always good for your prospecting, right?
We do. Well, like if you look at, SSL Sniper, right? Being able to, the reports too, like with the speed sniffer. That's probably a better example, right? Speed sniffer is probably a better example because you're talking about page speed and showing them the report and they're wondering what's going on.
Yeah. And even AGM, right? With our emails that we send out, the way we prospect in general is just to generate curiosity. Like anytime you can get a response, usually use some sort of curiosity.
Yeah. Well, what is interesting is, so I prepared a little, what do you call it? Cheat sheet of 9 psychological triggers that we can talk about today. But what was interesting to me is, we use almost every single one of those. Like AGM covers almost every single one of those. Like that's just such a great system. It's just so. I was talking to somebody else yesterday, and we were talking. It's a new member, a new partner in our Remote Millionaires, and he has a 16-year-old daughter who's wanting to start her own business, and so we were talking about some things she could do to get started, and I was talking about something that ties in really well with AGM, which is the CCSU, the coupon cash system. And he said something, I was like, oh, this is totally AGM and the mailer. Like you can build a little mini empire off of that stuff. Like a little mini empire of just a great resource for a community if you put the time and the effort into it, But it's got all the stuff built in that you need to make something big.
Yeah, and it was a gradual progression for us to create something like that, right? I remember when we were first building AGM and we were really just starting out with with what we were doing. Like it came from the mailer, right? It was a strategy that progressed off of doing the 9x12, and it didn't have, all of those bells and whistles to start, but it gradually became something that did have all of those elements.
Yeah, well, and then the members in that course making suggestions and trying different stuff and wanting to do different things, really awesome as well. But we're not here to really talk about AGM. It's just a good example. We have lots of examples of the psychological triggers and local marketing. I know, a lot of people, when they tend to think about that stuff, they don't really see how it applies to regular business, but it does, right? In fact, when I was on the RM coaching call the other day, one of the things that I was talking to them about is it just like every day that goes by, it becomes clearer and clearer to me, like how many businesses just are not taking advantage of proven marketing strategies and tactics, right? Like, we were just talking about having a follow-up system, right? Like most businesses just have this huge database of people that have come to their business at some point. A big chunk of them have not come back for whatever reason or haven't been back in a while, right? And this database just sits there. Like they have no idea what to do with that. Like very simple matter to get that list and run some type of, reactivation campaign to them, whether it's sending out a letter, a postcard, or, an email, whatever it is, right? Like would be a huge quick win for most local businesses. And they have no idea it's sitting there. And even if they do, they don't have any idea what to do with it, right? And then also just the whole process of add-ons and, selling additional things. It's just like, it's so, the more I do this, the more I interact with people, the more I see like, oh my gosh, these things that all of you know that are on this live that you kind of take for granted, like a sales funnel and an upgrade and these psychological triggers that we're talking about today, like you are so far ahead of most businesses, and the businesses can be successful without doing those things, right? Maybe they're successful, but boy, they could be so much more successful just applying those things. Let's see. Before we dive into our topic today, though, I do want to do the shout outs because we've kind of been bad about not doing them right at the beginning. So let's do the shark shout outs, and then we'll start talking about the psychological triggers, and we'll go through some of these questions. So if you have questions and stuff, pop them in the stream and we'll get to them. Okay, let me find where's my share screen? Here we go. All right, we have a couple of shark shout outs today. First, look, he was on there. Marvin. Mr. Marvin, client paid. So Marvin had a few different wins all in the group this week. One, he had a client pay his January invoice. Plus he needs SEO service. That's going to be $1,000 a month. He's building an online ordering system for a long-term client. It's a $1,000 app build at $99 a month plus maintenance. And then sold his Google Ads specialist 1 year review. I thought this post was great, right? So he was talking to his Google Ads specialist, and the guy was like, hey, how are you showing those reviews on your website? And he was like, oh, I have a software that we're in beta with. Do you want to sign up for it? And the guy was like, yeah, I'll take it. So he signed the guy up for 1 year at $147. And then the guy wants to bring Marvin on like a group call with some of his other clients to see if they want to sign up for it too.
I love it. Yeah, Marvin just said the problem is the one and done marketing mentality, and it's so true. And that's a great example of how he, isn't doing the one and done thing. And I actually did that for quite some time. I wasn't very aggressive with upselling and trying to sell multiple things to people. But then, obviously once you know that is something you should be doing, it really is a game changer.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we were talking about on the beginning of the year remote millionaires call was the only three ways, the Jay Abraham things, right? There's only 3 ways to grow a business. Only 3, right? You can either get more customers, you can either get them to spend more money, and you can get them to buy more often. Like those are the only 3 things you can do. There's nothing else, right? Keeping that, those questions in mind really helps me to like judge, well, what is it that I want to be doing and what's going to really help my business? Because it needs to focus on those 3 things, right?
Yeah.
So awesome job, Marvin. Were you going to say something there, Nick?
I was going to say either that or raise your prices.
Yeah, well, that's part of get them to pay more.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Increase the average. I think the official is increase the average transaction, right? So you can get more clients, you can get them to buy more often, and you can increase the transaction amount. Awesome. Our next shout out goes to Bruce Mayo. Bruce sold a website to a realtor, $1,300 with monthly residual for Facebook postings and SEO. A second realtor emailed about a new website and monthly check-ins. He got a premium property management group filled out his website discovery form for a website makeover, 10,000 plus. Wow. Plus website maintenance, Google business profile, Facebook video, around $4,200 a month residual. That is fantastic. Yeah.
That's amazing. Didn't you meet Bruce not that long ago?
I don't think I've ever met Bruce.
No? Oh, okay. I thought you met up with Bruce at some point in Vegas. Maybe it was somebody else.
No. Different Bruce.
A different Bruce. Oh, gotcha.
Different Bruce. Yeah. A local shooting range needs a website makeover, e-commerce, and up with Facebook and Google PPC. That's interesting, Bruce, that you have the shooting range on there, because I worked with the shooting range in Maui. You remember those? Remember the people that had the gym and the shooting range? What's it called?
Something with Target or something like Bullseye or Target or.
Yeah. Yeah, good client base. So, Bruce, congratulations. That's awesome. I mean, that's a lot of stuff just from 2 sharks there.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. I mean, combined total of $17,356.
Yeah, that's great. Damn. Killing it. Lunch is on those boys. Happy hour is on Bruce and Marvin.
Yeah, and we're just a week into the year already.
I know. Yeah, hitting the ground running.
Good stuff.
Yeah, way to go. Cool. Norm says he thinks he's at 74. Oh yeah, Norm. So Norm is one of our remote millionaire partners, but he's been sharing a lot of his wins over there. Like he's been freaking crushing it too. I think he has another deal I just saw in there that might close on Monday. That's a really good one too. But 7,400 for this week. I mean, that's awesome.
Phenomenal stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Norm, let us know if you need some support, man. I know you got that private Slack workspace with us. Happy to help.
Yeah. Yes. Norm said he got the deposit today. All right. That's awesome, Norm. Congratulations. Oh, I thought I put it up there. He said I got the deposit today. Oh, I have a screenshot. Awesome. That's great. Yeah, post it in the Facebook group. Let's celebrate that bad boy. Way to go, man. I know you've been working hard on that. Cool. Awesome. So let's talk about some psychological triggers. What maybe we should ask the people out there viewing, what are the psychological triggers that you know of? I saw a couple come in that were from the list. Lots of well done Norms coming in. Yeah, awesome. So I know like one of the things, let's see. Oh, here's one. I see people starting to come in. Rosie says scarcity. Oh, yeah, I saw Norm put this one up there too.
Fear of missing
FOMO.
out.
What does FOMO mean, Nick? Fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out, yeah. It's a huge one.
Yeah. Scarcity. That's a good one.
Scarcity is a great one.
Oh, Jacqueline says she can't resist curiosity.
Curiosity. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Oh, let's see if your company qualifies. A little verbiage there.
Yeah, a little authority hack too, right? Like,
yep.
We only work with a specific type of business. Why should we work with you? Right? That's what the person that's on the receiving end of that is thinking. Why should we work with you?
Greed.
Richard Greed.
Richard
Gecko.
Yeah. So one of the ones that I had for us to talk about, right? So, and I haven't seen this one. Reciprocity. Reciprocity, that's a big one from Cialdini's Influence, right? A book everybody always talks about, but reciprocity. Curiosity, we got.
And that's a massive one, reciprocity. And I mean, that can be applied to so much, really, just not only getting customers, but even expanding your network. I've been thinking about that a lot lately because, obviously I'm in a new place. Tom's in a new place too. And there's a lot of, new people that are top level business people in the different circles that we hang out in. And, whenever you're looking to like grow your network, a great way to do that is through reciprocity. Like if you meet somebody and you exchange phone numbers with them, if you can find a way to help that person, like give selflessly, then you should do that. That's a great way to start a relationship. A lot of people ask like, how do I find somebody in a industry that I'm in to mentor me or make more friends that are like-minded in the same industry? And that's a great way, is just, we have this Swiss Army knife of skills being marketers, and especially digital marketers, where that's what we do, right? We know how to do all these things, or if we don't do them ourselves, we know how to hire somebody to run ads or build websites or get people found on Google. And that gives you the ability to offer up some of those services in a reciprocal type of way, right? Like just give it up for free to make friends and help them out and start the conversation. And I've been doing that a little more lately. I've been saying yes a little more in the different peer groups that I found myself in here in New York, and to just network,
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just on a call. You weren't here last week. I think I might have mentioned this. Maybe not last week. Maybe it was after the live last week. But anyway, I was on a call with Brian Kurtz, and there were a bunch of high level people. So I'm in Brian's. He has this Titans XL mastermind group, and I'm a member of it. And so he did this little like Q&A thing because he's been opening it up for new members. And so he was on there with there were just a ton of really, high level people on there, and they were talking about contribute to connect is how they phrased it, which I thought was a great way to do it, right? Contribute to connect. So like what that means is like, I will admit this, when I was first starting out, I didn't have a contribute to connect mindset. I was like, contribute to get what I want. I don't know how, right? Like I really wasn't, what would they say if it were like a fairy tale? I wasn't pure of heart, right? Like I was contributing, but I was really doing it because like, I want, and it took me a little bit of time to like work through that so that I started to contribute without expecting that thing in return. Right. I mean, it was a process for me. Like I had to actually work on doing that. But that was one of the things they were talking about. When you get involved in these networks and groups of people, especially people on the higher level and things like that, you just have to contribute and not worry about, like, you just have to contribute and build the relationship and not worry about what you're going to get out of it. Right. And if you never get anything out of it, then that's okay. Right. So very, very,
yeah, you gotta give without expecting something back, and
yeah, which can be hard to do. I don't know. I find that hard to do sometimes. Maybe that's,
sure. I think it's
you're
normal.
busy. You're like, oh my God, I'm busy. I got things to do. Like,
but when we apply that to the different types of marketing that we do, not just, we're talking about networking mostly here on these two examples, but what's an example that we can apply reciprocity to with our marketing, maybe through email or software we use, or, giving something away so that someone feels like maybe I should give back or speak to this person or respond to this person.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of ways to do it, right? Like one way is if you make new connections and you happen to go check them out and notice something blaring that maybe they're not maximizing or maybe something that doesn't look right on their website, or like you could always make a suggestion like, hey, this is what I do. I just noticed something. You should probably have somebody fix that. Right. The other way too is just, telling them how to fix something, like just send them something saying like, hey, look, I came across this on your website. Like, I'm not asking you to hire me to fix it, but you should get somebody to fix it. Right.
Yeah. One of our main prospecting methods is doing that exact thing, right? Like, when we use our remote prospecting method, we literally do a screen share doing a little mini audit of somebody's online presence, and we just give it to them for free. We're just like, hey, I came across your website and I saw this. You should fix it, or if you need some help, whatever. I just thought you should know. And usually that gets a response, and we get a lot of responses, right? And we have our appointment setters every single day shooting these little videos and sending them out to people on our lists. So, I mean, if those of you have thought about using reciprocity, that's a way that we are using it every single day. So don't sleep on it. It's a very good way to get a response.
Yeah. Jordan says he's watched about 6 of L's audits. Nice. Cool. So, all right, we talked about reciprocity, curiosity. Oh, I saw Dorn mention this one in here, which I thought was good, which is commitment and consistency. And somebody else mentioned this in the comments too about a foot in the door offer, right? So consistent commitment and consistency is like when somebody commits to something, they want to have consistent action based around that, right? So for instance, when you sell a website to somebody, right, they've committed to building this website. Now they want to get traffic to it. So it could be easier to sell them a service to help them drive traffic to the website because it's consistent with the actions they're taking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So commitment, consistency, that's a good one. Use a decoy. Does everybody on here know what a decoy is? When you use a decoy, what that means? It's a price psychological trigger.
What would be an example of a decoy?
So a classic example is like somebody who has a newsletter and a digital version, right? So they'll offer you can buy the print for X amount of dollars. You can buy just the digital, or you can buy the digital and the print, right? But they have a higher price. Like the digital and the print is the best deal. You don't really care if you really don't want anybody to just buy the digital, right? Or maybe it's the print. So you set one of them up as a decoy, right? So like if you have packages for your agency services, you might have, like a really common one is like the 3 packages, right? Basic, middle, high end. And most of the time when people do that, they're not trying to sell the high end or the basic. They want people to go for the middle one.
Yeah, that's a great example of it too. Also, a decoy could be like strike through pricing. Something that
can be a good one. Yeah. I don't know what this book is. Whoever asked, I haven't. Persuasion code. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
I was just saying that, like, I do that a lot with like websites, where we tell people like, look, normally this type of website is something that we usually charge around $5,000 for. But if you can, give us a couple referrals, I'd be willing to do this for $4,500 or $3,000. Or if you have all of the content and the images that, the things that are usually difficult to get and make a website design process annoying, if you have all this stuff ready to go right now, I'll give you a lower price. Like, so you can anchor your pricing in that way, like higher, and use it as a decoy when you lower. And,
and that works too.
If you're looking at a website and you're going to go buy something, this is more like e-commerce style, right? Like you're actually going to have a transaction on a page. You have a strike through pricing. That's also a decoy.
Yeah, James, and that can be an upsell too. I don't know what you're asking about there. I think you're talking about maybe the website and then going onto the SEO services, right? Like what I would really consider an upsell though is like, another service can be an upsell, but like maybe somebody buys a 5-page website and you make them a special offer to add an additional 3 pages. Add an additional 3 pages for a discounted price or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good point. It doesn't have to be the pricing. It can be the deliverables. Somebody said in here, one of the greatest types of reciprocity is like a foot in the door strategy. And Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what a foot in the door strategy is most of the time. It's where you can break down that barrier by giving something away for free or for, a smaller price, getting somebody to commit to like a micro commitment. And then later on, that helps them to commit to a bigger commitment.
Yeah. So let's see. We talked about using decoy. We talked about FOMO, social proof. That's another good psychological trigger, right? Like one of the things I've seen several people do in our group, which I think is really smart, is and you can combine this to build some credibility and authority too. But let's say that like you've never gotten a client, you want to get one. Well, if you work for a client at a severe discount, or maybe you offer to do something to them for free, and the only thing that you ask in return is that they give you permission to turn what you do into a case study, that's a great version of social proof for your marketing. So you do this thing for the person, track your results, show what you did, and then you use that case study to market to additional people. You've done that before, right, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the best things that you can do to kind of hack your way up if you have very, very little clients or no clients, or, just no portfolio of any kind. When somebody is, looking to buy or hire you to do something, oftentimes they want to know, well, who else have you done this for? Who else have you been able to, provide this service for, and what kind of results have they gotten from it? So I can expect the same. And so that is definitely where that social proof stuff comes in. And we say this a lot, if you ever do a great job with somebody, ask them to leave you a review. When they leave you a review, make sure you take that review, screenshot it, post it on your social media, send it out on email, do all those things so other people out there can know what you're doing, but then they can see other people having a good experience with what you're doing. And that ripple effect, it really happens. Social media is great for that. And, I personally use social media only for those types of things for the most part, because that's what it should be used for.
Yeah. I want to get something. I got to grab something because I want to share it in a minute, but let me go through the others real quick. So, social proof, stand for something, right? Like being the person in your community that's like, hey, look, the reason I'm reaching out to you is because I've talked to a lot of local businesses here that have been, burned by out-of-state digital marketing providers. And it's very frustrating to me. Like, I want the businesses in our community to do well. I want you to have help. And so I'm providing that, right? You stand for something, authority. And then one that I don't really think of often is to offer less, right? Like sometimes you're trying to cram too many things on the person and it's just information overload, right? So start with a simple offer, maybe one solid thing that you can just be clear on and offer them there. I thought that was a good one.
That's funny. I remember trying to sell SEO for the first time, and well, not only the first time, but very many times in the beginning when I would try to sell something like SEO, I thought by explaining how SEO works to people that's what would make them to buy. That's what would trigger them to buy. But actually that would trigger them to be confused and feel overwhelmed. And really what they want to know is just the end result, right? So I would start talking less on my sales calls, right? I would stop. I thought that the more you add to what you're selling, the more they're going to feel like they're getting. But if you do that in a technical, jargony type way, like you're just going to confuse them. You're going to make them look at whatever it is you're selling. Be like, there's a lot of shit here. I don't even know
what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really it needs to be very simple. So, I stopped talking like that, and it's easier on you, like I remember trying to sell SEO and I would just be spouting off we're going to do on-page optimization, and we're going to take your headers and do a sitemap. And looking back, I would have probably told me to get lost.
Yeah. Well, it's keeping it simple for them to understand, right?
Right. That says that I was trying to sell features instead of benefits, and that's a great point. That's exactly what it is.
I sure do. Yeah. Well, the thing I wanted to get, I just read these last night and I thought they would be good, but we were talking about social proof, right? And maybe you want to you've worked with a client, you need to get a testimonial. So I came across these 6 questions. So you should grab a pen and paper and write these down. So these are 6 questions you need to ask to get a powerful testimonial. And Cameron, I'll send these to you too, because we should be using these as well. But if you send out an email, ask these questions, you can get some good testimonials. So number 1 is, what was the obstacle that would have prevented you from buying this service? Right? So what was the obstacle that would have prevented you from buying this service? That's number 1. Number 2, what did you find as a result of buying this service? Right? Number 3, what specific feature did you like most about this service? That's a good one. What specific feature did you like most about this service? 4 is, what would be 3 other benefits about this service? 5 is, would you recommend this service? If so, why? And then the final question is there anything you'd like to add? But I thought those 6 questions were really, really good.
And so these are questions that you can use just to get feedback or to get reviews?
Yep, to get a good testimonial. So you finish a job, right? You wrap up helping a client. You build them a website. So you shoot them out an email and say, hey, listen, I just wanted to say thanks again. We really enjoyed working on your project. If you don't mind, could you take a few minutes and just answer these questions for me? Or you could have a link to a survey, right? Like they could link and you could ask them these questions from a form if you wanted to, but keep it simple, right? You just send them that email and say, hey, would you mind answering these questions for me? It helps me to make our service better. But it will give you concrete testimonials with like good stories and examples, right?
Yeah, those are great questions. And I think I do think there's something to be said for the psychology of knowing when to ask for that information or ask somebody to go out and fill out a survey or leave you a review. And usually it's after, I mean, the same thing, right? The reciprocity factor comes into play. Usually right after you do something for somebody. I mean, if you're, you know, throwing a cherry on the top of the project the day that you're delivering it and they're like ecstatic, they love what you've done, they're thanking you, that is the best moment to ask, like, hey, you know, I know I'm so stoked that you love the project, you know, could you go and answer these 3 questions on this form? It takes 2 minutes. Or could you go leave me a review at my Google page? Here's the link. It would really help me to get, you know, more customers and grow my business. If you ask that right in that opportune moment, you have such a higher conversion rate than, you know, 3 months after a job is done, or, you know, after the project is cooled off. So knowing when to ask is a big piece of it too.
Yeah, absolutely right. I'm going to type these in for people.
Marvin says, same process for getting referrals. Best time to ask is at the time of commitment. Yeah, it's true. Referrals are the same way. And we like to use referrals as a way to lower our price sometimes too, you know, because sometimes you might bid a project or pitch somebody on a project and it might be a little bit out of their budget, and you don't want to just lower your price for no reason, right? Because that would give somebody the idea that your price is arbitrary. That's not a feeling you want to leave any of your customers with. So you want to, if you're going to lower your price, you want to do it for a reason. And one of the great reasons that you can do this is by asking for referrals. And that way you can, you know, if it's somebody that you are interested in working with, they don't have the amount that you've actually pitched them on, but you do still want to work with them. And there could be a chance that maybe you could bring them in on a little bit lower of a price than you were originally thinking. Well, you can say, hey, if you can give me 2 referrals, I'll be able to reduce the price by $500. That's a great way to do it too. Or a great time to ask for referrals. And the great thing about that, Marvin, is you're using a time in the buying process that's actually in the beginning rather than in the end. So you could potentially get some good referrals up front rather than have to wait till you see a project through. So that's a nice feature about doing it that way too.
Yeah. You know, one thing, maybe while I'm typing these in, Nick, you can do we can announce the member of the week. And
sure.
Then I should be done.
I can do the member of the week. So let's see. Every week we have a member who is in our community, and you all are in our community. And we just see them out there helping out, answering questions, sharing their wins, sharing their success, sharing their failures sometimes. And we like to highlight those people. So, you know, if you are in our community and you you're out there helping people. We do appreciate it. And so this week we have a member who, let me see if I can pick the right screen here, is Mr. Bruce Mayo.
Congratulations, Bruce. A little applause there.
And I know he's here. So if you all could tag Bruce and congratulate him. Bruce, we're going to be sending you a shark treasure chest for being the member of the week this week. And I see here that it says that you've been kicking down some doors, start of the new year, raking in new clients, and getting your services out there. So congratulations, man. And thanks for sharing all your wins with us in the group. I think it's so important that we do that because it's so motivating. It's so motivating to be around people or be in a community where people, they're active, they're engaged, and you can see what's possible. If you're surrounded by a bunch of people that aren't doing anything, then you don't really know what's possible. So it's so important for us to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations, Bruce. Awesome job. All right. Well, I put those questions in the chat, so it kind of fed them out funny. That's not how I typed them in, but they're in there, so you can look through the thread of this chat and find them in there. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I see them coming back through. All right, there we go. Thank you. Whoever on the team put those back in there, I appreciate it. Thank you. Awesome. All right, so what questions do you guys have for us?
I'm trying to scroll up because I saw a lot of questions that were coming in earlier up. But one thing I do want to highlight, I'm seeing this comment again, is Norm. Norm was actually, like we've talked about, he's in Remote Millionaires. So the strategy that we've been working on over the last couple of weeks is what brought him into that new client that he had, which, again, goes back to using some of these psychological triggers, reciprocity being the big one there. So it really does work.
Yeah, well, the reason we're talking about these psychological triggers today is because one of the things that we haven't really... So like if you look at a lot of the courses and things we put out off on Sharks, right? We do a lot of foot in the door things, show you how to get your foot in the door, how to start those initiations, how to, start to build the relationships with potential prospects. But we don't really talk about, we do a little, but we've never really went in depth into the sales process side. The only place we've went in depth in that is in our Remote Millionaires program, where we have a weekly sales call and we really dive deep into, how to talk to prospects, what to say, how to handle objections, how to close more deals when you have these interactions, right? So we decided we wanted to start 2022 off by sharing that information with you. So we're going to do that in our very first virtual live event in the Offline Sharks community. It's going to happen January the 14th. It's called Agency Sales Summit. And we're actually going to be bringing in a guest, a person who's selling local marketing services in an agency every single day. She also teaches this process and helps people out inside the Remote Millionaires partner program. So we're going to bring her in for a day. Nick and I are going to be there. We're going to hang out. It goes from, I think, like 1:30 to 5:30. There'll be some breaks and things like that. But we're going to talk about sales, and we're going to go over not only these psychological triggers, but we're going to talk about, how to be professional in a sales interaction. We're going to talk about how to handle objections, how to close more deals. What is the difference between talking to somebody who calls you and how you talk to somebody that you reach out to, right? So it's basically going to be a deep dive into the whole sales process as it pertains to selling for a local agency, right? It's going to be an amazing live event. Here's the thing about the live event. We are not going to sell the recordings after the event is over. Or if we do, it's going to be a long time down the road. So the only way you can get the information is to show up to the live event. Now, when you buy a ticket to the live event, which it's not very expensive, we kept it low because we wanted as many people as possible to have access to it. I think it's $21. I mean, it's really inexpensive. But when you buy a ticket, you get the recordings. So you need to go buy a ticket and that way you can get the recordings. But more importantly, you need to show up, because really the strength of it is the interaction and all that stuff. And I have a link I'm going to pop up on the screen here so you guys can go and do that. But look, if you don't buy a ticket and we have the live event and you email our support and you're like, hey, I just want to buy the recordings, they're not for sale. Like, you can't do that. So it's important that you go buy a ticket and show up to the live event. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, but if you do buy a ticket and you can't be there, because I had somebody message me already and they were like, I'm not going to be able to make it, but I have a ticket. We will, in that arrangement, send you the recording.
Oh yeah, you get the recordings as part of your ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can, of course, you want to show up live, like Tom mentioned, we have a guest, but it's not just this isn't like another webinar, right? This is a summit. You know, we're going to be talking like a lot about not just sales and prospecting, but how it really applies to us as digital marketers, as digital agency owners, because there's a unique way to go about things, and everybody's got a different skill set, right? Like Tom's got a different skill set. I've got a different skill set. Lucy has a different skill set, and different approaches, different ways about going about things. Like, you might find somebody that's great at talking, and their strategy is based around that. You might find somebody that's not great at talking, but is more introverted and good at writing email, or more interested and curious about writing email to bring in sales. Well, then there's a different strategy to go about that. And so you have to, in order to get good at something like this, you have to hear different strategies, different methods, and take the ones that you can apply to yourself and might be good for you. So, for me, personally speaking, like, I have never been very good at sales. It has never been something that really interests me. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I always begrudgingly do sales. I don't really like doing it. That's why I hire people to do sales for me. But I do it from time to time. And of course, I did it so much in the beginning. I was the only one doing it. And it's because I had to, And so how did I make it work? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. And it's going to, and just so you guys know, like I said, our guest, Lucy, Dorn's wife, who sells local services in Dorn's agency day in and day out. Right. I mean, there's nothing to buy at the summit. We're going to go over the sales process. We've got specific things, all the things that you want to help you close the deal. But like, you're not going to get on there. We're not going to pitch you anything else or anything like that. I mean, the main reason we're doing the summit, to be fully transparent, is because, we've had such a great response from the people inside Remote Millionaires, like people taking that stuff, taking action, getting deals, growing their businesses, all those kinds of things. We wanted to give you guys kind of a peek inside, right? And share something valuable with you. So maybe you'll come on that summit and you'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, if this is what they do on the summit, I'd love to get into the Remote Millionaires thing. So, but we're not going to pitch it or do anything like that on there. So it'll be fun. All value, a ton of stuff. It's going to be great. Our first live event too. So I'm excited about that.
I see
our first virtual live event.
And how many people are already signed up, Tom?
Man, we have a lot.
Yeah.
There's like 300 people, I think, already.
Yeah, there's already about 300 people coming.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's a precursor of the things that are, more things that are to come in Offline Sharks, right? Like, we want to do a few more of these virtual type events because there's just some more things we can do in them and have more interaction and stuff like that to connect sharks and do things like that. And then also too, we're going to do an in-person Sharks event this year as well. So that's going to be exciting.
Hey, so there was a question here that I think Patty asked it. She's asking about the Google guarantee. Oh, by the way, if you guys are looking for details on the summit, when it is, how long it's for, there's a link on the screen. Tom already mentioned it, offlinesharks.com/summit. That's how you can get more info on that. We're coming up on the top of the hour though, so I wanted to get this question because it's actually something that we're working on in our agency right now for a client, for a carpet cleaner. Patty said, can you explain the Google Guaranteed? And so Google Guaranteed is a program that they started rolling out probably like 2 years ago now. And the reason that some of you are only seeing it now is because they started rolling it out in phases. Like they tested it out in California, they tested it out in certain cities in Texas. And actually, when they were testing it out in Hawaii, we got a call from Google they were like, hey, we're about to roll out the Google Guarantee in Hawaii, but we're not sure what type of businesses to offer this to because of the seasons. And I mean, Hawaii doesn't have any seasons. So
Hawaii has the good seasons, Nick.
Yeah.
The good seasons. They've got the good ones.
What's funny. So we got a lot of snow here last night in New York, it was pretty cool. There's just, a huge blanket of snow over the city, which I hadn't seen before. But anyway, Google Guaranteed. So it's like another version of ads. So basically, we're all familiar with Google AdWords, Google Ads, where you make a search, you see an ad at the top of Google. Well, Google Guaranteed is for businesses that are usually service-based businesses that you can go through a verification process with Google to verify you're reputable, you have a license, you're insured. And if you go through that process, they will start to advertise for you in like a pay-per-lead type of marketing. So you have the ad, like if you do a search, you have the ads at the top, and then you'll have another little box that'll be for Google Guaranteed with a little blue badge. And if you want to be put there, that's how you do it. And if they send you any leads, then you pay per lead. It's pretty cool.
And the like the kind of like the psychological trigger behind that, since that's what we're talking about today, right? Is it doesn't really, it looks like Google's guaranteeing these businesses, right? Like they're giving these businesses social proof that they're good. So the idea is more people are going to click those Google guaranteed businesses, right, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All the things we've been talking about, right? Social proof, right? Like those things, like those things, all that stuff, authority, all those psychological triggers are in that with that little blue badge.
Yep. Trust is a big factor too.
All right, Marvin, enjoy the rest of your day, man.
See you, Marvin. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, StreamYard is doing having some issues.
Yeah, so Jacqueline says it looks like Google Ads and people who run them on behalf of businesses might feel the squeeze in 2022. Yeah, it's interesting because Google is like, if you think about Google search results and you think about it like real estate, right? You have the prime real estate, the place that you want to buy a house on Google is the top, and now what you're seeing is obviously ads start at the top. And before it was like, first there were ads and then, the map and then the top 8 or top 10 organic. And now they're, showing ads, the pay-per-lead Google verified, and then the maps with ads in the maps. And now they're not even showing a top 10. Sometimes they're just showing a top 8 or even a top 6. So there is less and less organic real estate that's available. And they're definitely going more toward a model of paying for and monetizing their services. But so you might feel a squeeze, but also that's what we do, right? We shift, we pivot, we innovate. So for us, we have the carpet cleaner that we're running ads for. And now we just sent out an email to them saying, hey, would you like us to get you verified as Google Guaranteed? We'll set up your business. We charge a fee. And we can, if you want, you can be a a go-between on the actual pay-per-lead fee, or you can charge a retainer to kind of manage the whole situation for them.
Yeah. Awesome. Dorn, I will check that out. Dorn says, check out Melon. It's a streaming tool, it looks like. Hey, one thing we have to do, Nick, one thing we need to do is, where is this? We need to.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
Dollar. Ching, bling, bling, cut the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
You were not. You were so still. I couldn't tell if your video was frozen or not. Like you usually at least crack a smile when that song comes on, but you were literally like, I was like, is this video frozen or?
No, I was reading because I was trying to get my questions ready. Because if you're going to put me on the spot to ask a question,
I was like,
funny.
man, he's like, I think his video froze.
Why so serious? So I'm going to ask a question, everybody. Cash App question. And the first person to get it correctly in the chat, we're going to send some Cash App money to, like we do on every stream. So the question is, what is the name of our first virtual event happening on January 14th?
Oh my God, that's such an easy one.
That's such an easy one.
Oh, that was an easy one.
Kevin, no, I took Kevin out.
You got to put the full name in. This is such an easy one. You have to put the full name in. Summit doesn't count. Oh, I see. I see Wayne Gilchrist as the first one so far. Yep.
To Wayne.
Wayne Gilchrist. Oh, let's do two. Can we do two?
Yeah. Let's do
it. Let's do Wayne Gilchrist, and then let's do Michelle.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah,
we got a new winner, Michelle.
Dorn. Agency Grow It. Dorn. I love it.
Dorn the Meg.
Yeah. Fantastic. Congrats. Yeah. Congratulations. Some applause there. Okay, awesome. Well, any other questions? Any questions about the Sales Summit or anything we talked about on today's live show? I'll tell you. Which reminds me, because we're doing the summit, so the summit is January 14th. So next Friday, there will not be a Facebook Live show because we will be doing the summit. So we won't have a Facebook Live, but we will be back here the week after for a Facebook Live. I'll tell you something I saw the other day, Nick, that weekend, or like that Saturday right after the summit, there's a magic convention in Las Vegas at the Golden Nugget.
Wait,
the Society of American Magicians. I might go and try to get some magic tricks. We'll see. The Society of American Magicians. If you've never been to a magic convention, it's kind of like a Star Trek convention, only nerdier. Just so you know.
Well, I mean, for those of you that have been in our community for a long time, you know, occasionally Tom will bring out a magic trick for us, and they're always really, really cool. So I hope that you do bring some back.
I will. I was just looking at some the other day. I was like, I need to work some up and do some more. So we will do that. Awesome. Well, yeah, it's like the 18th, Jocelyn. Look, there's Jocelyn. She's been crushing it too.
Hey, Jocelyn.
No book this week.
Well, I hope
Cameron said the best part of magic conventions is usually the bar.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, nothing like a bunch of drunk magicians, right? Oh, awesome. Well, man, a great live show. You guys had great questions. It was awesome to get some feedback. I hope you got some value out of the psychological triggers. More importantly, I hope you took some notes and you apply those to what you're doing in your marketing. Very, very important. So, awesome. Cool. Nick, you have anything you want to add before we close this baby out?
Yeah, just like you said, once you start thinking about those psychological triggers and how you can add them to your emails, your social media, you have them on the phone. It's just like anything else. When you know that that's what's available to you, you have these different tools in your war chest that are available to you, then you can start to implement them. So start thinking about that, start adding some of those things in when you can. And I'm sure you'll see some results for whatever it is you're adding them to. So yeah, great live show, everybody. If you have any other questions about the summit, I saw somebody asking about the VIP, etc. offlinesharks.com/summit. Everything is there. And yeah, looking forward
I can tell you what the VIP is. Do you want me to tell you what the VIP is?
Sure.
Yeah. So the VIP is we're going to do like a hangout 30 minutes before the actual summit starts. So you get to come on, we'll just hang out, chit chat, talk. Nick and I will be there. And then we're going to do, so the summit is all about the sales process, right? The actual sales, handling the objections, all that stuff. But what we don't really talk about in the summit is generating inbound leads. And so we're going to do a bonus session on the following, I believe it's the following Wednesday. And that bonus session, I'm going to teach a kind of an, little used, forgotten, old school kind of method to generate inbound leads. That's really good. We'll show you the whole process for that. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about building a team in that bonus session as well. So it's just, all of the sales stuff is in the main summit. This is just some things that happen around that process, right? So if you're into that, sign up for it. It should be a lot of fun as well.
Awesome stuff. All right. Well,
cool. All right. Well, everybody stay safe out there. If you're someplace where it snowed, stay warm, and we won't see you here next Friday for the live, but we'll see you the Friday after. So have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Practice aloha.
You've been listening to the Sharks Live Show, your weekly marketing jam session. Always bringing you the latest strategies and tactics to build your remote business from anywhere in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube and Tom's podcast at tomgaddis.com. We'll be back here next Friday for another Sharks Live Show. Until then, aloha.